Okay, now that Dr. West is seeking the nomination of the Green Party, I gave it some thought for about maybe close to a minute and decided I was going to rejoin the Green Party in order to help it organize to boost his campaign. I had been a member of the Green Party in the past, and in 2018 left the party because I had trouble seeing a strategy for it moving into the future. But I really think the campaign of Dr. West would be a game changer for the Green Party, help revitalize it, bring new people into it, increase its numbers, maybe even inspire it to reform some of its internal difficulties, which every party has. So I think this is a good path for him to follow. I'm glad he did it. His views are largely in line with mine. This is from a left perspective, and by left I mean specifically someone critical of capitalism who thinks we need to go beyond capitalism to a different kind of social system. But that doesn't necessarily mean what a lot of people think the left means, or at least the way Republicans, conservatives characterize the left as wanting big government. That's not something I'm too interested in, or wanting this wokeism. I think that's cultural issues are important, but the center of the left for me, when I talk about the left, I'm talking about the idea we need to change our political economic system from one that benefits a wealthy elite, a capitalist class, to one that benefits the broad mass of the people. So what are the options here? If the Democratic Party is not going to be taken over and taken in that direction, there's a possibility. I mean, for folks who are convinced that's the way to go, more power to you. I'd like to see that happen. But let's not argue about whether alternative parties or the Democratic Party path is the more sensible path, because they both have great liabilities. So, and you're never going to get everybody together on the same page anyway, because the pros and cons are so well known, and they kind of balance each other out. So I think you just have to leave people to make their judgment about where they're more comfortable, where they want to fit, whether they want to try to elect more progressive candidates, more democratic socialist candidates through the Democratic Party primaries, or whether they want to go the alternative party route and try to build a truly large and effective alternative party. Now, we could start from scratch and try to create a new party, as the People's Party was trying to do, and as Andrew Yang, he's kind of sort of on the left, not very far left, is trying to do with his Forward Party. But it's really hard to get a party going from scratch, especially in a country as big as ours with this large population and so many different states that have different ballot laws. It just the knowledge and the political infrastructure to build a party on that scale is very difficult. So why not go with the parties? One of the parties we already have. There's really only one large political party on the left in the United States. That is the Green Party of the United States, which Cornel West just decided he was going to get involved with. The Green Party has been around about 30 years and had a lot of opportunity to build and gain knowledge. Of course, it's remained very small because our political system is very resistant to alternative parties. Hard to get on the ballot, which was not true early in this country's history, because now there's a lot of ballot access laws. Hard to get on the ballot, hard to get people to vote for your candidate because they're afraid of so-called spoiler elections. Hard to get media attention because it's hard to build public support. So there's alternative parties do have obstacles, and they usually stay small. As I said, I was a member of the Green Party and left in 2018 because I could not see a strategy for moving forward. But what is the alternatives? Not a lot of them. There is the Democratic Socialists of America. They are not a political party. I do find promise there because they are open to the idea of creating a mass political party. But I think what we don't need is both a new Democratic Socialist Party and a Green Party, both vying for supporters. And I don't think I think the Democratic Socialists, when it does make a decision which direction to go, and I hope it makes a decision at its August convention, whether it's going to continue to try to work within the Democratic Party, or it's going to officially sanction working with Dr. West's campaign in the Green Party. Either it's going to eventually create its own party and compete with the Green Party if the Green Party is still around, or it's going to decide to join it sooner and maybe, work with it and work through it. If they can work with the Democrats, why not with the Green Party? I mean, the paths are equally difficult stretching out in front of us. But you can join the Democratic Socialists of America. I have. It won't get someone on a ballot. They can help elect people. They are organized to do that. This is a independent organization of socialists, so it has a lot of it's ideological consistency, not total consistency, but it's on the left in a very clear way. And when it acts, it is clear to what end it's acting toward, that it wants some form of socialism in the United States, or moving in that direction anyway. So that's clear. The Green Party is a little more ideologically diffuse. It was created as a party that brought together a lot of separate movements. First of all, the socialist movement, which was in a state of lassitude at the time they first started to develop in the 1980s, the Reagan era. They brought in socialists that didn't have a place to go because the old Socialist Party had broken up. The DSA was around at the time, I think, but it was not very far off the ground. It had its strategy was to influence the platform of the Democratic Party. That didn't interest people so much because they thought the Democratic Party was not doing too well. Anyway, getting a little off the track again. So the Green Party brought together socialists, feminists, environmentalists, labor activists, civil rights leaders, people from a lot of different movements, to try to bring them together in one larger group that had a general orientation in the same direction, but it was much more diverse. And in fact, there has been a lot of push and pull within the party, which is one of the problems that needs resolution. But in any attempt to create a mass party that's even bigger than the tiny Green Party, you're going to have to bring together people of a variety of views and find methods of having them talk to each other and find common ground and maybe move forward in just try to find resolution to the issues that divide them. So I think the Green Party is the most promising of the formations on the left. They have about 200,000 members around the country. By members, registered voters, not necessarily really active in the party. That's a smaller group. But the Democratic Socialists of America, in contrast, has a little under 100,000, I think, and is kind of leveling off. So I think combining their forces would be a good thing. What I would really like to see is a mass movement that brings in not only the Green Party people and the Democratic Social America people and the most progressive members of the Democratic Party, bring them together in one. But to move in that direction, you have to find a ground where you can work. Work in the current time, meet people, work together with other people, and talk to them about ways that things might come together. So I think there's potential for an organized mass political movement down the road if we can revitalize the Green Party, if the Democratic Social America finds itself on a similar path, if progressive Democrats are disappointed in the alternatives being offered to them and are looking for a home. I think a lot of that can come together. The Green Party is a natural location for anybody who feels like you have to have a clear identity apart from the Democratic Party, that it signals that you're trying to move beyond capitalism. And so I see it as a viable path, really viable, not in the sense that this is guaranteed to work, but this is the only path I can see that makes any sense. Now, with Dr. West getting a lot of attention for the party, and I think he'll stimulate a lot of activism within the party and bring new people in, it gives the Green Party a greater chance at trying to move forward to the future and learn from the past and consolidate whatever gains it makes and move forward from there. That is my hope. So this is why I think the Green Party is a good location for organizing. I don't think it's the only possible path, but I think it is a good location for organizing, has a lot of pros to it. It's a large organization, it's well established, it has a clear, distinct identity from the Democratic Party. It leans strongly towards the left, towards the positions that I and many other people hold. So I think it is a good organizing tool, and it has a path open for it. What are the downsides of the Green Party? Well, our whole political system is deliberately resistant to alternative parties. We need to change our voting methods. Green Party, by the way, has been very active in that for at least 20 years. I've been part of that, trying to bring ranked choice voting to the United States. We've had a few successes. And then moving into the star voting, I think that's even better than ranked choice voting. Green Party hasn't picked it up yet, but they are leaders in trying to change voting methods, among other groups with different ideas, but they have been very active in that cause. They see the need to change the system, in other words, to make it more viable for alternative party. So the con is it's difficult for them in the current environment to move forward to try to actually convince people they are worthy of a look in elections, because of the hard for them to elect anybody. They're relatively small, even though they're the biggest, left-wing organization in the country, I think. They have internal issues about how they're going to run, and democratic issues like that. A lot of contention over the presidential nomination last time around. So those things need to be straightened out. But those things are all things that you're going to encounter anywhere. And you may as well roll up your sleeves and expect you're going to work on it, no matter which direction we go, even within the Democratic Party, unless you simply sit back and say, well, let's let the people who lead it now lead it wherever it's going, which I think is in the direction of nowhere that's going to pacify people, and they'll continue to turn to people like Donald Trump, thinking we need some kind of radical change, and the Democratic Party is offering no such thing.